All right, so let's speculate on the overall strategy that Craig Wright has in the COPA versus Wright versus BTC Core claim. So I'm here in Las Vegas this weekend, and enjoying Thanksgiving weekend here, and there's the Sphere. It's the new thing right here in the background, and then this is another hotel across the way. And guess who I run into? I'm over here at the Xiaowei Lu from S-Crypt. Two guys that hate shopping are in the freaking middle of a mall walking by each other. All of a sudden, boom. He reads a tweet that I put out 5 minutes earlier, and then we see each other. So we sit down for dinner, and he was going to go see this Sphere with his son, and I'm going to go check it out later. It's a new attraction site. And we start strategy. We have a nice dinner at DJT, which is the Trump International Hotel. So we basically, and Xiaowei starts making the, inquiring as to why, if Craig Wright has this evidence that can win this case, why is he holding out? What's he waiting for? And it seems like a regular, like a frustration that people have. Calvin Ayre had come out and said that he wrote an email to Craig and asked him to sign, why he hasn't signed, or why he can't sign at this trial to make this, put the nail in the coffin. And it seems like a general sentiment online and people on Twitter, and according to what Xiaowei Lu is talking about. Now, let's talk about what I believe and speculate on what the actual strategy is going on here. Now, Craig's already come out and talked about how he does not trust his lawyers. He fired a set of lawyers recently. He's got new lawyers, and he said that every time he listens to his lawyers, he loses. So clearly, he's got his own, strategy going on here with this entire case. And when we're talking about evidence, and he did a podcast back in 2018 where he said that he could bring forward bank records, from the purchase of the Bitcoin.org website. That was an original website. I don't know if he's made the claim since, but he did talk about it on an original podcast, the one that was at the N-Chain headquarters. So people are like, why can't he produce it now? Where is it? Why hasn't he shown it? Look at this. Just because a piece of paper says something with words on it doesn't make it true. In order for it to become true and admissible, there have to be witnesses, and witnesses have to come forward, and it can't be Craig as a witness. Somebody from Visa or the bank from Australia would have to come forward and testify that they were a witness to that transaction at their bank. Now, if that witness were to come forward, now we'd have a fact in a court of law, which would be admissible, unless it was rebutted from the other side. That being said, the reason that he's not produced the document is because Craig realizes it's nothing more than words on paper. It has absolutely no proven fact until that witness or witnesses come forward. So I believe I'm going to speculate here, that is more likely than not, that's what he will do, is he will call forward a witness from the bank that held the transaction on the 2008 Bitcoin.org purchase, and probably call forward another witness that has personal knowledge of that particular time, and let both sides cross-examine, let the COPA side, and then he'll cross-examine as well, and bring that into evidence. So then the document that says, credit card receipt, Craig Wright, purchase, Bitcoin.org, 2008 for X amount of dollars. Then that will come in with these witnesses if the court finds them credible. So that being said, the reason that Craig is not signing, because can we agree that it's pretty clear that according to testimony from Stephen Matthews, who I would say is incredibly credible, he's not going to lie under oath. A world-class businessman with everything to lose, going into court, he's not going to lie under oath about seeing the signing. Okay, that's one. John Matonis, and then also Gavin Andreessen. Those guys, I don't believe they've testified. They just haven't seen it, but they've definitely talked about it. And then I believe there's also Craig's uncle, which I haven't read the testimony on that one. But some pretty credible, very credible people have already testified, including Calvin Ayre, have really made these claims about the signing. So it's more likely than not that he could sign. All right? And that's what Calvin was likely upset about. However, in the strategy sense, that signing does not prove the creation. It does not prove the issuance. Because why? Who else is going to testify to the signing other than Craig? Think about it. If that's all he had, if he had one piece of evidence and it was he's going to sign with some keys, and he comes in and testifies, that's self-serving. It's self-serving evidence. It would be impeached. It would be attacked by the other side and stricken. I would say maybe not stricken, but it would definitely be. They would try to strike it. They would object from it getting in, and it would be very possible to be successful. But as a last resort, okay, to build the case, if it were necessary, I could see that being a silver lining, signing those keys. But it wouldn't have the credibility without bringing in the Bitcoin.org receipt with the witnesses from the bank, Visa or MasterCard, to bring in the credit card receipt and let the court see it in evidence. Okay, with that right there, case would be over. There'd be no need for the signing. And again, the signing itself, by itself, I don't believe would be enough to prove the issuance rights. He literally needs to provide those witnesses for the Bitcoin.org purchase. And I believe that that's kind of like what I was speculating with. We were speculating out at dinner tonight as to what the actual strategy is and why he hasn't produced anything yet. And so, just to clarify again, just because even if he has a piece of paper like this, and I don't know if he does, even if he does, it means nothing. He could post it online right now. So what? It doesn't make it true at all. And that's COPA's whole strategy, is they've taken things that he's put out before and they're trying to rip them apart, say they didn't happen, they're fraud, they're forged. And so I believe he's holding everything very close to his chest, wisely so, because the more surprise that he could bring forward at the actual trial, the better. The more element of surprise. Now, in law, they definitely, surprise is frowned upon. So, unfortunately, I can't get access to the case and see all of the witnesses. If there's anyone to get me access to the case, please reach out and let me know, because the court's not responded. But from what I haven't seen the witnesses, but he'd have to put those witnesses on the list. So the other side would have to know. But he doesn't necessarily have to produce everything, because those things aren't necessarily admissible until court. So there can be an element of surprise. I don't know how many days before or what the rules are on that in the UK. Usually you've got to let the other side see the evidence before you bring it forward to cross-examine. At least in the US you have to, at some point. But maybe you could do it the day of trial. It's possible. So it's more likely than not that's what he's doing. That's how I see this case going down, that he brings forward a witness from the bank of whatever in Australia, and all of a sudden that guy comes forward and testifies and say, yep, I was working at the bank 2008, I've worked there 20 years, and yes, that's a transaction that my bank held. Here's one of our authenticated, certified documents from the bank, not from Craig. Here's one of our certified documents from the bank to show this is a particular transaction that we ran. What is this? What does it say, sir? It says Craig Wright purchased the website, bitcoin.org. All right. He brings it in, shows it to opposing counsel, shows it to the court. Any objections? Sure, there's going to be objections, but then all of a sudden it comes in, makes it admissible. The court looks at it. What else is there to say at that point? Case over. There's no need to sign, unless there's some other atomic bomb thing going on, or or somehow the other side's able to prove the fraud and the reliance. Somehow they were relying on Bitcoin SV, which I don't see how they're going to be able to do. But overall, once that happens, this case is over. There's no reason to even consider signing and putting that at risk in any way. And plus, like I said, the fact that it's likely. It's less likely to prove the issuance, because who else can testify other than Craig? Okay, and you can't consider him a witness because it's his case. He can't be his own witness. Come on, that's like it could be like a supporting part, but without some sort of backing, witness to those keys, who's going to bring him in? How are they going to get into the court and be credible? at the signing. I don't see how they'd be credible in any way other than him, and that's just not enough foundation to bring in a credible witness. He says it himself. Of course, the court's going to say, of course. The other side's going to say, of course, he's going to say that's going to help his case. So that being said, I believe this is the overall strategy that's going on in the case right now, and we won't find out about exactly what facts, whether or not he has that receipt or who his witnesses are, probably till the very last minute. So hopefully that adds a little bit of a kind of a big picture, perspective on what it's going to take to prove such a fact. And dude, ultimately, man, it was great to see Xiaowei Liu. I met his wife and his son. We had a nice steak dinner. And I just see nothing but bright and beautiful, prosperous future for Bitcoin, for the original Bitcoin in 2024 and going forward, in a nice, gradual, optimistic perspective. So it's just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful future. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll put a hand cash link in the video. If you can send me some Bitcoin SV, if you freaking appreciate commentary like this and overall strategy. And you never know, maybe CoinGeek will pull the trigger and have me at the trial in the courtroom, because one thing Craig has admitted is he damn for sure ain't gonna listen to his lawyers. But there's gonna have to be somebody, just a little bit of like strategy, giving him a little bit of perspective on things so that he can make the right decision, and make sure that encouraging him that he needs to make the decision and not listen to anybody else, because I believe he's already got this planned out. He needs to stick to his plan and just evaluate things and not waver, okay, moment by moment. Subscribe, like, comment. This is Gavin Mail. We'll see you at the top.